I don't know what to say about humor, except thank God for it. I can change the subject of my life with humor when it's down. I can change it like that. I pray that I may live expectantly. To live expectantly. What's going to happen on Sunday? And Sunday, what's going to happen on Monday? In the meantime, stay where you are and enjoy it the best way you know how.
She was brash, bawdy, and one of Broadway's biggest personalities. Elaine Stritch lived the life of the consummate entertainer, always looking for a laugh.
The makeup! I hate it. I need it.
And usually getting one.
The headaches, the heartaches, the backaches, the flops. Been there, done that, got all the T-shirts.
Elaine Stritch was born into a wealthy, rigidly Catholic family in Detroit, Michigan. She attended the Academy of the Sacred Heart, a convent school in nearby Bloomfield Hills. Enchanted by the stage, Stritch was adventurous and rebellious, but by her own estimation, naive.
I was exposing myself at age 15, 16 to things in those days, and I think it's safe to say that, I didn't understand what the hell the black drag queen down at the Ruby Bentley's Black and Tan joint in Detroit, Michigan, I didn't know what she was singing about. But what a rockin' beat, what an orchestration, and it was, the name of the song was I Want a Long Time Daddy Who'll Be Ready Anytime I Call. This is extraordinary. But it wasn't the lyrics. I didn't know what they were talking about. Ready anytime I call. I didn't know that was all about sex and all about it. It was the fact that the rhythm of it. I want a long time daddy, bop, who'll be ready anytime I call. I said I want a long time daddy, who's gonna be ready. And I'm looking in the mirror and singing that song. And the first thing you know, my father's there. What the hell is going on? So, it wasn't very funny that morning.
At 17, Stritch fled life in Detroit for New York City. She attended the dramatic workshop at the New School of Social Research and studied alongside an unknown but immensely charismatic actor named Marlon Brando, with whom she would find herself one evening on a date and back at his apartment.
My expectations were naive. I was just madly in love with him. That's all I knew. And I knew that when you go to somebody's house, they don't put their pajamas on. They just don't. If they've invited you up for a drink, why is he putting... And I'm telling you, I was just 17, and I did not know. I couldn't have told you, but I knew it was wrong. It scared me. I put my pajamas on when I go home. I'm 17 years old, and I'm in drama school in New York City. And Marlon Brando was very anxious to see what was going on with this convent girl. He's a curious guy, and also he was basically like every other man in the world. He doesn't want to be turned down. And as a result from that, he stopped speaking to me, which I'm not talking against him, because everything about Marlon, he was adorable. He was lovely. He just, nobody knew how to handle him. I don't get any points for being the best girl, the good girl from the Sacred Heart Convent who didn't sleep with Marlon Brando. I didn't know how to sleep with Marlon Brando. I didn't know what any of that was for. I knew about kissing, and that was it. I knew there was something beyond that, but I had no idea what it was. I was too busy. I was really intent on knowing how to entertain.
You said you were a virgin until you were 30. First of all, is that true?
Why would I say it if it wasn't true? Do I sound or look like the kind of dame that tells lies? I don't think so. So I'm not going to say I resent that question, but why would I say that? For a laugh? I don't think there's anything funny about being a virgin at 30. I called out, Marlon, what's the matter with your cat? And he called back, she's in heat. And I called back, should I open the window? Yes, I was a lot younger than I thought I was. You know, I don't think there's ever been a person in the whole world that was as young as I was.
If naivete was one of the constant themes in Elaine Stritch's life, the other was her struggle with alcoholism.
It all started in the sunken living room on Birchcrest Drive. My mother and father were having cocktails one night, and I was almost 14 years old. And so my father shook up what must have been a mean whiskey sour, and he gave me half. And I drank it. A star was born.
She was only 14 when she had her first drink, an experience that launched an addiction that would burden her for more than 4 decades.
Bells are pealing. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a recovering, ongoing, recovering alcoholic. And when I got sober, I began to realize that I had choices. I could make choices. I didn't have to do what I didn't have to have 5, 6, 7 martinis. I wasn't drunk every day, but I drank every day. I think that's a good way of putting it. I wasn't drunk every day, but I drank every day. And I'm so glad I don't anymore. I miss it. How I miss it. How I miss it. And by the time that anybody hears me say all these smart things about alcohol, I'll be long gone. And I won't have the problem anymore. Someday, maybe, all my dreams will be repaid.
Elaine Stritch began her professional acting career in small off-Broadway shows. But as she sings in Elaine Stritch at Liberty, this Broadway baby dreamt of making it big on the Great White Way.
Broadway, baby. Making rounds all afternoon.
Her first role on Broadway was a musical revue called Angel in the Wings. She caught a break as Ethel Merman's understudy in a musical entitled Call Me Madam. During that show's run, she got a role in the 1952 revival of Pal Joey. For the following 5 decades, Stritch proved herself a versatile performer in dramas, musicals, and comedies. She earned 4 Tony Award nominations and oftentimes glowing reviews. She also caught the eye of one of Broadway's legends, the British actor and playwright Noel Coward.
I did a musical called Sail Away with Noel Coward. My mother and dad came to New York for the opening, naturally, and Mother met Noel Coward. Wow. She just flipped, as did I. You know how some famous people, don't treat your relatives, or, this is my sister, and they go, hello, and on with their life. Noel Coward was gracious and warm to everybody. And when he met my mother, he knew how to rob a train, believe me. And that Christmas that I was in Sail Away on Broadway, Noel sent Mother a Christmas card. Well, talk about it was the talk of the town. And Mother would take this Christmas card every place she went, to the Bloomfield Hills Country Club, for golf games, luncheons, everything. Oh, look what I have in my bag. I want to show you this. And it would be Merry Christmas, Noel Coward. So, the next year, Sail Away had closed, and Noel Coward did another musical on Broadway, The Girl Who Came to Supper, starring Florence Henderson. And that Christmas, Mother didn't get a Christmas card. So she knew where Noel lived, because I had told her. And my mother sent Noel a cable. And it is now framed on his landing in Les Avants, Switzerland. I don't know whether it's there now, but it was for all the years he was alive since then. And the cable said, Dear Noel, first name basis, Well, well, well. I guess you have to be Florence Henderson's mother to get a card this year. Well, I'm telling you, he said to me, This is the way Noel used to laugh. He couldn't get his breath when he was really laughing at something. He adored that. I mean, that was Noel Coward humor. I mean, that could have gone right in a play.
Another vodka stinger. I'll drink to that.
One of her most memorable performances was in 1970 in the Stephen Sondheim musical Company, where she performed the song that would become her anthem, The Ladies Who Lunch.
Let's hear it for the ladies who lunch. Everybody.
Here's to the Ladies Who Lunch, your showstopper and company. There's a lot of anger in that song and in your performance. Mm-hmm. Where's that coming from?
Well, it's coming from, it's very hard for me to explain my characterizations because they come from my gut and I really don't quite understand. Naivete again, naivete. I just know that a woman who has lunch at Swifty's every day and goes to a gym and to a fitting and buys a hat and walks home, it's not good enough. I feel sorry for them.
Everybody tries. Look into their eyes and you'll see what they know. Everybody dies.
Here's to the girls who play wife and, that aren't I always thought of them as not in love, but just going through the motions. And here's to the girls who just watch, who just give up and start drinking. All those different kind of women who aren't happy. So naturally, if you're not happy, you're going to be angry. Where is it? Well, how can I be happy? And a lot of them didn't know and don't know.
Here's to the ladies who lunch.
A documentary by filmmaker D.A. Pennebaker chronicled the grueling 15-hour effort to produce a cast album of Company. In it, a weary Stritch struggles with her song as a frustrated Stephen Sondheim looks on.
I'm just screaming! It's too early to scream.
You're screaming because you know that your voice is tired and you're trying to make up in power.
Yeah, but I've always done that, Steve, because I've always had dumb material. So now I got good material and I can afford to go backwards. It's not so much that my voice is tired.
I just want you to listen.
What's your relationship with Stephen Sondheim like?
Oh, I wish I knew. Oh, I think I do a little bit. I'm in love with Steve Sondheim, always have been. I think he's one of the most physically attractive and certainly up here mentally, talent-wise. I think Steve admires me in certain ways, but I don't think it certainly doesn't want to spend time with me.
Two's company.
In 1972, after a successful run of Company in London, Stritch stayed in Britain and starred in the situation comedy Two's Company.
Supposed to come in out of the rain.
Well, as I've already told you, Madam,
No, I know you don't like Americans. Well, I'm not madly in love with the British, so we might have something in common. Now, would you come in, please?
She married the actor John Bay, who was featured on Two's Company as Stritch's distant American relative.
Merry Christmas, Dorothy.
Merry Christmas, Clarence.
Merry Christmas, Jeeves.
Bay died within a decade, and Stritch never remarried. Her memories of that time would become a poignant part of her performances.
For instance, when I'm sad about about John losing my husband after 10 years, who am I going to tell about that? Who's going to understand what I'm talking about? I find a song that's so right for singing about John, and then I say it to people every night, and it takes so much off of my shoulders that I've let somebody else know, and also open doors for them to feel about who they love, and that's the ticket. And since he's gone, I just can't be a crybaby, 'cause my baby made life worthwhile.
In London, Stritch also discovered she had diabetes, exacerbated by her alcoholism. It created health problems that would plague her long after her return to New York City in 1983. What has it been like living with diabetes?
The pits. The pits. I'll try to be humorous about it. First of all, I've made up my mind to always live in hotels from the day I got diabetes because I've got people around me all the time. And if your blood sugar drops, you need a friend. You need someone to help you. And I have had terrible hypoglycemic attacks. I've been crawling around on rugs saying, help! And your voice goes too if it's dropped low enough. Oh boy, I'm doing pretty good these days. I'm just really so serious about it, about taking care of my blood sugar and seeing that it's levels and I don't, have any hypoglycemic attacks. I tell about one in my show, and it's scary.
By the 1990s, she had quit alcohol, but her diabetes remained a problem the rest of her life. Despite this, Stritch would continue to put in memorable performances on stage and screen. In particular, and ironically, in 1996 as the alcoholic sister in Edward Albee's A Delicate Balance, for which she earned a Tony nomination.
I apologize that my nature is such to bring out in you the full force of your brutality. I got notices that, the old joke about I could have written them myself, but that isn't true either because I don't think that highly of myself. I wish I did. But the critics were over the moon about me. So I love that. Even Sondheim came backstage and said, it's the first time I haven't recognized you on the stage. It's pretty complicated, but very good. I know what he was talking about. I did a characterization of a character in an Edward Albee play, and it had nothing to do with Elaine. Well, it had everything to do with Elaine. I'm convinced now. I really am convinced that I'm really, really talented. I'm really good. I know how to entertain.
After more than 6 decades in theater, television, and film, Elaine Stritch came to Broadway with a one-woman autobiographical show titled Elaine Stritch at Liberty. The year was 2002. She was 77 years old. The show was a crowning achievement for a woman who had endured her share of both successes and hardship.
Maybe if I'd had a Diet Coke or two somewhere along the way, I might have made some grown-up decisions about a lot of things.
Elaine Stritch at Liberty. How did that come to be?
I'd had many successes before, but I don't think I ever had anything as successful as this. It said to me that I was interesting, and my life not only could be, hot stuff. I never had that in my mind, but it could be helpful to other people who had the same problems. And that's what made me care about my show. And I had to watch very carefully that it never became didactic. It never became, I'm better than you, I'm more successful than you. No, it only became, I was a teacher in my show. I became a teacher. And it never was not entertaining. I'm sore as hell that I had to go through what I had to go through to get through what I had to get through. And you know what helped? You know what helped me a lot? Booze. It's scary up here. So you're scared, you drink, you're not scared. What is the problem? I did not feel sorry for myself. I just told it like it is, told it like it was, and told it how I thought it was going to be. Past, present, and future, I told, with hope.
Elaine Stritch at Liberty was not only a big hit on Broadway, it became a successful HBO special. And perhaps more than anything, it earned Elaine Stritch the long-awaited Tony Award. But the experience, however satisfying, left her with mixed feelings.
The theater took too long to give me a prize. They took too long. Man, I'm angry. Finally, I got one. And as I say, I use everything for comedy. Why not? I said, there's good news and there's bad news. The good news is I've got a terrific acceptance speech for a Tony. The bad news is I've had it for 45 years. The good news is I finally won a Tony. The bad news is they cut the speech. First Tony I'd ever won in the theater. All I've done in the theater. I was nominated like 6 or 7 times. And I finally won. And the music cut into me after 3 minutes. Wrong. They should not have done that.
I live through Brenda Frazier, and I'm here.
Do you think people are frightened of you?
Yes.
Why?
Because I'm frightening. I frighten myself sometimes. I'm definite. I'm frightened myself, so therefore I put up a defense about frightening everybody else. I don't mean to be, but I am. I don't realize how cross I get, how impatient I get.
Herbert and J. Edgar, this is too slow.
In 2008, when this interview was conducted, Stritch was still keeping busy, rehearsing at the Carlisle Hotel and appearing on the NBC program 30 Rock.
Jack, what the hell are you up to?
Mother, I'm sorry, but the Lemons invited me out, and I couldn't say no. They're very nice people.
Oh, nice. I'll show you nice. Let's all meet down at the soda shop while this country turns into Mexico.
In 2007, Stritch won an Emmy for her work on 30 Rock. And in 2008, she showed no sign of slowing down.
I just can't quit at the moment. First of all, because as soon as I work, all my arthritis goes away. What the hell is that? Is somebody trying to get funny with me? And now, it's been 2 weeks since I've closed Elaine Stritch at Liberty. I got arthritis again. In my shoulders, boom. I said, come on, do I have to do that show every night to be rid of arthritis? You can't win. You can't win. And I guess it's good you can't, because as soon as you win, it's too much Christmas, and you can't stand that either. So what the hell are we going to do?
First you're another slow-eyed vamp, then someone's mother, then your camp, then you career from career to career. I'm almost through my memoirs, and I'm here.
How do you want to be remembered?
How? Whatever you think's fair. The most important thing to me is that I am. And I don't know, it's all gonna be such a revelation. I mean, I look at death as my God, what an experience, what an adventure it's gonna be. And if it's nothing, are you kidding? There'll be no more interviews about nothing. And it's a line in Richard Rodgers' song. Nothing comes from nothing. Nothing ever could. So somewhere in my youth or childhood, I must have done something good. That's a great explanation of an afterlife that I've ever heard in my life. Because if it is nothing, it's nothing. I don't think so, though. I don't think so. Too many people getting a raw deal. You know, we got to even the score here someplace. Somebody has got to somebody has got to play fair with us in the end.